What's up, guys? Welcome to the 8th episode of The Drum Break, where we talk about everything in, on, and about the percussion world. I'm Mike.
I'm Spencer.
So, yeah, man. Welcome to the Halloween episode.
Halloween special.
Or as I should say, I'm Ted.
And I'm Bill.
And welcome to Wild Stallions.
Yes.
But yeah, so for our YouTube viewers, we did try to do a little scary thing.
Yeah.
It's
Getting
not
the Halloween spirit.
Yeah, we got our clown guy here.
We both love Halloween. It's
Yes.
one of our favorite holidays, and if you're watching this when it comes out, Halloween will be this weekend. So
Yeah. So
trying to get in the spooky mood. We'll be talking about some scary drumming things, some scary non-drumming things. Get in the Halloween spirit for this episode. But before we start spooking you all, Mike's gonna plug some of our stuff.
cool beans. Yeah, so you can find us pretty much anywhere. We are on Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and then you can find us at our social medias, both Instagram and Facebook, The Drum Break Podcast. Yeah, but give us a follow. Let us know, if you like the content or not. But yeah, so before we get into it,
Yeah.
why we're kind of dressed funny. So we both like this movie. It's funny. It's called Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yes.
And it's about these two guys, like two friends from high school, and they're both guitar players.
Mm-hmm.
And they start a band called Wild Stallions, and they go through this whole adventure
Yeah.
thing, and going back in time and stuff.
No spoilers if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, we won't spoil it a lot. But yeah, so I'm Ted and he's Bill.
William S. Preston, Esquire.
Nice. You got that memorized?
Yeah.
I'm like Ted Theodore.
Ted Theodore, yeah.
Yeah, Ted Theodore Roosevelt something.
But yeah, so we thought that we sort of channeled the same energy as Bill and Ted, except we're drummers.
Yeah.
But yeah, our costumes are part of the deal. But yeah, why don't we get into some of the spooky stuff?
Yeah.
First, as it relates to drumming. Because if you're a drummer or any kind of musician or performer, that as fun and as exciting that playing music can be, there's also some times where it can be really freaking scary.
Yeah.
Especially if you're starting out and you might have some nervousness or anxiety about your skill or playing with other people or that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of things to be afraid of when you're drumming. That doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
But we're gonna try to sort of help people fight those fears a little bit, and explain where some of the stuff comes from. And so we found this list from Drumeo, which they're awesome. If you like this podcast and you like drums, definitely check them out. They're a pretty big YouTube channel, and I think they have a website. And all that kind
I'm pretty
of
sure
stuff.
they have a podcast as well.
Oh, they do. Yeah.
You shouldn't listen to them. You should listen to us. Well, yeah, no. Like Spencer was saying, definitely go check them out on YouTube.
Yeah. But they have this awesome little list of things that every drummer is scared of. Which I think both of us are going to be scared of a few of these things.
Yeah.
For sure too.
And we'll talk about it to see if we had any experience with it. If we actually were. And then we'll also tell a couple not spooky scary, but scary things
this happened
or
on a dark and stormy night at this jazz club.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so number one is stage fright.
Yeah.
Which is probably honestly the biggest fear for musicians because it's like an actual fear, like the fear of public speaking, or in this case, public music making. It's very real for some people.
Yeah.
Especially as I said before, if you're starting out. Do you have any like specific experiences where you've had like really bad stage fright for something?
I mean, yeah, it's weird though, because like I get nervous. I get more nervous when I'm stressed. So like if like here's a good example for, I think this would have been junior year V show.
Mm-hmm.
We were playing, and you and I had both had like a ton of acts to do.
Be in, yeah.
And so I was running around like nonstop all day, the whole like 3 hour or whatever show is, hour and a half to, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Running around. And like there was some, like you and I were kind of in charge of like all the percussion stuff. So like we had to make sure that anybody that was using any percussion things had their equipment and, had the right thing, made sure it worked. So I'm like running underneath the stage, like back and forth from either side. Yeah, and then our band director, you remember this story, and our band director stops me and just starts like yelling at me. And he's like, da 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 da, like where's this, where's that, they have to go on stage, da 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 da, where, I'm like, I don't know, I'm on stage in a minute, like I have to go change,
and all that stuff like sort of just piles on and piles on, and then
so,
by
like,
the time you actually get on stage, it's
I was so nervous. I was gonna mess up, like so scared that I was gonna mess up, because like I just had so many different things going on in my head, and like I honestly was scared to go on stage. I was like, I forgot what act I was going on for. Like I knew, but I was like,
had a mental sort of
it was like a mental block.
Yeah,
it was scary.
Yeah, I guess I don't really get it as much now, but I used to get very nervous, especially when I first started playing jazz and first started getting like a few sort of real jazz gigs.
Yeah.
Not to say that there's a such thing as a fake jazz gig, but some of those like first gigs of mine when I was a young jazz musician were very scary, because it was new to me and I wasn't really comfortable with playing yet, and it can be just like really frightening.
It can be,
but I think one of the main things that is involved with stage fright is preparation, because probably the biggest reason why you would be nervous on stage is if you're not prepared. If you like prepare and over prepare and practice and know your material like inside and out, then that takes that out of the equation. So you don't have to worry about, having the fear of messing up or something. Because then anything you mess up is just like a fluke, a mistake. It's nothing that you can like blame yourself for. If you prepare. So I think that's one of the key ways to sort of combat stage fright, is if you just like over prepare for whatever performance you have coming up and try to like not let anything else get into your mind.
And it's a really hard and mature thing to do. Like, and I would even say, before every performance I wouldn't say it's stage fright, but I would say it's
get like butterflies and
like I definitely have like a mode, like where especially like, I don't know, it happens to me more when I'm like, if I was like on stage and I'm backstage in the dark, and I could see stuff going on happening in front of me, and all those people are on right now, and they're performing, and thousands of people are watching them, and like that's when it like kicks in for me. I'm like, okay, this is legit. And like I stopped talking for a good like minute, and I'm just like
getting the mindset. It helps if you have like some sort of routine. It reminds me of like before marching band competitions, the drum line would always go off to the side right before we march on and do a thing we call stir it up, which is basically a little like huddle, and we just hype ourselves up. And it serves that purpose to hype us up, but it also serves the purpose of like a flipping the switch moment where it's
Yeah.
like, okay, we can be in competition mode right now. And the same thing, like with the V show that you were talking about earlier. There was one year where me and a few of our buddies were on the opening act, and every night before the show started, we would do like a little the rhythm section is what we called it. Because the year before there was this act, this dancer who danced to a song, and it went hip hip chin chin, the rhythm section. And so we turned that into a little like mantra, I guess, that we would do before we opened. And so we would like get in a circle and be like hip hip chin chin, the rhythm section. And then we would go and be in performance mode. So just little things like that to help sort of get you in the mindset of performing and also preparing for whatever performance you have are two great ways, I think, to combat stage fright, if you have it.
Yeah.
So that was number 1. Number 2 here is losing a limb, which I don't think that means losing a limb while drumming.
Yeah.
Like there's no real like danger in drumming. I think it means losing a limb in some other way that would prevent you from drumming, which is scary.
Yeah.
You know, I think all the time like how important my hands and fingers are, and like they're such small, fragile like bones and muscles that anything could happen to my thumb at any time, and then I wouldn't be able to, you know, drum how I know how to drum.
Yeah. You know, like one of the things I always joke about is like if you cut off both of your pinkies, you'll be okay. You know what I mean? Like, because most of drumming is done with like
you at least need
you at least need, I'd say, at least 3 fingers at least.
You could lose your ring finger and pinky,
but like I mean, it would help.
You'd be okay.
So I think you could definitely lose your pinky and would be okay. But like, it's still like I think about that a lot too. Like, you know, when I was like doing a lot of drumming and I was like always doing stuff, like my parents would consistently remind me like, no, nothing stupid, please. Like, you're drumming and you need to be okay.
Yeah, it's like you can't go do this, like, because I remember back to V show again, there was one year where our PE class was going on like a ski trip, and that was like the week before V show or something like that, and you were super nervous about it. I wasn't going, but you were going, and you were super nervous because you thought you were gonna like fall and break your arm or something and not be able to perform that whole week. And
I did fall, and I did strain my hand for a little bit. I was like, it hurt a little bit afterwards, but it was crazy, man. It was I was scared about that.
I mean, that's, you know, do fun things. I encourage you to do fun and maybe sometimes risky things just to get out of your comfort zone, but always keep in mind that you should be safe. Mm-hmm. But there's also the thing that there's a ton of awesome drummers out there who don't have a left arm or don't have like I believe the drummer for Def Leppard, Rick Allen, I think his name is, he like lost an arm in a car accident, but kept drumming, and a lot of those records that he's drumming on, he has like a modified rig and he's playing with one arm, and it's great. I've seen videos of people like just being able to like overcome all of these injuries and stuff to still do what they love, and it's great. I love it.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's something it's ridiculous. Like, and it's not ridiculous in a bad way. It's ridiculous in like a wow, that's amazing.
It's like an insane feat of talent and strength. It's like, you know,
it's not just physical strength. It's mental and emotional. Just
to be able to get back into it.
Yeah, you know. It's got to be so hard.
But I'd say for the most part, if you aren't doing extreme sports every day, you shouldn't really have to worry. But then going out along with that, if you like truly love music and truly love drumming, you shouldn't let anything get in your way, mental or physical, you know. Just find a way to keep making music. Mm-hmm. So yeah, number 2, losing a limb. Number 3, we have sharing your kit, which is I don't know if it's really much of a fear of mine. It's more so I don't know, I guess like a pet peeve.
Yeah.
I feel like it's that for most people.
Yeah, like when it comes to when it comes to you, like I'm pretty okay with it.
Yeah, well, if it's someone you trust,
Yeah.
like, and you know that they're not gonna destroy anything.
But like if one time I brought like some cymbals to our high school and like to use for something, and like I was so nervous that like the whole day I was like, oh, someone's gonna take them or someone's gonna like dent it or
Actually this summer there was, and you were there, I was at an outdoor gig, and it was sort of like we would play the gig and then it would be sort of like an open jam session type vibe.
Yeah.
And this kid showed up who is like a really amazing jazz drummer, who was like a middle schooler and was way younger than us, but super great. And it was awesome. And I let him sit in on a tune, but he was playing on my kit. And I was like trying to be nice, like, oh, adjust it however you want, thinking that he's gonna like, oh, raise the snare drum or lower the throne a little bit. But he and like I'm a jazz drummer, but there's a lot of sort of jazz drummer things that I don't do.
Yeah.
This kid like tilted his snare drum almost perpendicular to the ground. He messed around with all the cymbals and stuff and all the heights and everything, and that's just how he could play comfortably, and it was great. He sounded great.
Yeah.
It didn't really like make me that mad because it's just hardware, you can adjust it, but it was a little,
it's a little like
come on.
Yeah. It's not scary, but
it's just more sort of annoying if you have to deal with someone, and that he wasn't annoying by any means. It was great, but just that's sort of my most similar experience to having someone. And I'm sure a lot of people who play like venues with house kits or anything like that have the same sort of problem, where if you roll up and the house kit is like not great, that's always sort of a bummer. But you gotta, again, work with what you got and don't try to let anything get under your skin too much.
Yeah, it's hard to do, but like sharing equipment is like you said, with people that you know and trust, and that will respect your stuff, it's a little different. But like I hesitate, like I have people over sometimes, like, before COVID and stuff. And like, they're like, cause I got a big kit. So everyone wants to play the big, wants to play the big kit. So like, everyone's like, oh, can I, I'm like, yeah, sure. And like thinking, that like it's going to break or something, or something's going to go wrong. But then I think about how hard I play and how, I beat the shit out of these. Oh, sorry.
I'll bleep it.
Okay, cool.
I'll
Thanks.
Cowbell it.
Thanks. No, you should ghost it or something. Ooh, yeah.
Like a lightning.
Oh yeah. Lightning strike. But yeah, no, like, how much I beat these up, but yeah, I always have to remember remind myself.
But yeah, so yeah, sharing equipment, it's like sort of give and take. It's part of the deal, sometimes, because we have a lot of equipment, and sometimes you have to share.
Yep.
And that's a life lesson too.
Yes.
You got to learn to share your things. But the next one here that we have is blanking at a gig, which it sort of relates to the stage fright thing that we were talking about, where like you've prepared as much as you can, and you know all the music inside and out, and you're in the mindset, and you've done your routine, but then something just happens, and you just mentally, your mind just goes blank.
Yeah,
and it is scary if you get caught in like that moment. If you try to think too hard about it and you just like go blank,
I'm really guilty with that.
Yeah.
I have a really hard time with that, actually. I don't know if you know that, but about pretend it's like 10 to 5 seconds before we play.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, we're gonna get ready. We're gonna play our first tune here, especially in jazz. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what is it? How does it go?
What's going on?
Well,
how do you play drums?
Yeah, kind of. It's like how do I do this? So I've asked the bass player multiple times. I'm like, hey, how does this go? Or how does this tune go again? you know, and they'll sing it to me. I'll be like, oh, okay. And I only need like a second of it.
Or especially sort of going along with that, if you're in a jam session sort of scenario and someone calls a tune that you don't know,
Yeah.
that can be really, really frightening, and sort of like, the term is like to get vibed or something, which is kind of like a not so great thing that some jazz musicians do. If you're like at a jam session and you mess up or don't know something, they'll be like, oh, that guy.
Yeah.
You know, but it's, you know, part of the culture, whether we like it or not. But again, just trying to like asking the bass player, like, hey, what's the form?
Yeah. You know,
Or what's the style? What's the form? What's the tempo? That's, you know, what you need if you don't know a tune. And I do that all the time. And the bass player that we know commonly gives that information to me.
Yeah.
Because he knows I don't know a lot of standards.
That's what I said. That's the same guy too that I do that with. It's just like, I literally, I'm sure we could call him up right now, and he, you know, if we were like, do you or do you not tell us what the tunes are 5 seconds before we're supposed to play them? I bet you he would say yeah.
And then it's fine. But yeah, going back to the sort of the blanking thing, that's sort of related to it. I've been like caught in like midway through a gig, and I've been grooving along, doing well. And then I just get to a point where, for whatever reason, my mind just like stops working.
Yeah.
You know, and that is scary, because sometimes like you don't know how long you're going to be that way. And it could just be a split second and you're back in it, or you could just like totally break down, and it is scary.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, with that kind of stuff, you can't really be too hard on yourself, because especially if you've like done the preparation that you needed to for whatever gig, if you've practiced and you know your stuff, then you can't really blame yourself. There's something that YouTuber Adam Neely, he made a video a while back, and there's something he said in that video that was I really liked. He was talking to one of his friends who like was a jazz musician, but then quit doing that to start work, I think on like a naval ship or something like that. And what he said was the worst thing that could happen if he messes up as a musician is like you look a little awkward or you look a little dumb.
Yeah.
The worst thing that could happen if he messes up his job on the naval ship is someone could die.
Yeah.
Multiple people could die. So in the grand scheme of things, what we do on stage, it like doesn't affect, you know, anything.
The outcome isn't as bad as it could be.
And you know, humans, we are very good at sort of blowing up, you know, making mountains out of molehills, you know, especially musicians when it comes to messing up on stage. But I think in that scenario, if you just like have a brain fart and you just sort of lose your train of thought or train of playing. Just don't let it get to you. No one's gonna really judge you. Everyone has those moments.
Especially if you're playing more than one song. You know, it's because you have how many notes would you say on average there would be for a song?
Hundreds.
Let's say,
especially if you're a drummer.
Let's just say let's say 150. Let's say you're playing a short jazz tune, right? 150 notes. You have 5 tunes, 6 maybe. That's a lot. That's almost 1,000 notes.
Like,
you know,
chances are you mess up, you blank 2 tunes later, no one is gonna remember.
No, it's all about recovery.
Being able to recover, and that sort of leads us into another one that we'll talk about after this, but. The big idea, just like, don't beat yourself up about, you know, blanking or messing up. It happens to everyone, and it's not that big of a deal.
And even if they don't, you know, don't say that it happens. If they're like, oh, I never blank, or I know
I'm perfect every time. Actually,
they're wrong.
They're wrong.
They're wrong.
They're lying. But yeah, going along with the recovery thing is dropping a stick.
Oh my gosh.
This is one of the scariest things.
It is.
Because the thing about us drummers is that we're so like attached to our sticks. Like we need the thing about like if you're playing bass or playing saxophone or playing trumpet, there's like very little that could easily go wrong.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to just drop your saxophone on the ground, or you're not going to, I mean, you could break a string on a bass, but it's not that common. The thing about drummers is we have these like two tiny pieces of wood in our hands that nothing's holding them in. We're just holding them and we're hitting things with them. So naturally, if you like hit something, it's going to want to rebound. And sometimes that rebound doesn't really work in our favor.
Yeah.
And it's very common for a drummer to drop a stick. And that's like devastating for us because that's what it's like if a guitar player would drop their pick like inside of an acoustic guitar or something like that. But at least then they can still use their fingers.
It's like all of the strings on your guitar breaking at the same time. Yeah,
that would be,
that would be like, what do I do now?
Yeah. Like, do I play with my hand? Do I pull a John Bonham? Like, play with my hands? So it is definitely very scary. And I know we've both had some experiences with stick drops.
I got a really good story for that.
Yeah.
So we were at a jazz gig. It was like our jazz night or whatever. And I think this was like one of my like last, because it wasn't like jazz night, like the last jazz thing
performance
we played.
Of the year, I think.
Yeah. So it was like the last performance of the year, and I was playing, and I like during a solo or whatever I dropped a stick because I was so nervous, because like when it's jazz night, it's like it's this kind of like a room like this, and like everyone can see everything. Like you're not on a stage,
very
like you're
intimate.
Not,
like you're right up.
It's like a jazz cafe almost.
Yeah, it's like it would set up like a jazz club. Essentially.
So like we're there playing, and like our band director is like looking at me for the solo that's about to happen, and I'm like, yes, I can do this.
Palms start sweating.
Yep, I start going,
slippery.
And like halfway through the solo, I drop my freaking stick, and I'm just like, my heart, like even right now, just talking about
it's like your heart stops.
My heart,
it's like time
stinks. It stinks. It sinks. My heart sinks. It's like, oh my gosh, I did not just do that. So naturally, it's like, okay, you have a split second.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, do I do the one stick thing and pretend like nothing happens?
One stick? Yeah.
Or do I ditch the other stick and start playing stuff with my hands? Like, you know what I mean? Like
you need to make a decision within a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah. And then it's like, hey, can somebody get me that as I'm playing? So he comes over, my other band director reaches down, grabs the stick, and just is like, here you go. And he's laughing about it. Thank gosh he wasn't like super mad about it, but he's like laughing, and I'm like, oh geez, all right, well, never mind then. Just kept playing, but that's scary.
Yeah, it is scary. There's the main thing about that is being able to sort of be quick thinking and just not get too absorbed into, oh my god, I dropped my stick, what am I gonna do? There's this really awesome video, you may have seen it, of Nate Smith. It's like during a solo, and he's killing it playing, and then his stick just like flies out of his hand. There's no hope in him being able to pick it back up. And so he just starts playing with one stick, and it sounds amazing.
I think I've seen that.
That's partly because it's just Nate Smith, and he is that good that he can play with one stick and make it sound like two. But it's just, and this is sort of a bigger lesson about drumming in general, is learning how to adapt to whatever situation that you're thrown in, because there's going to be a lot of situations where you don't really know how to deal with it. And you just sort of need to keep your head clear, keep focused and just sort of be able to adapt. But if you drop your stick, you drop your stick. Same goes same as we were saying before. You're not gonna get fired.
No.
You're not gonna.
Well, you might.
Well,
depends. It depends.
Yeah, it depends on who your band leader is or anything. But most people will see that as just crap luck. Oh man, drop the stick. It's cool though. So again, don't beat yourself up over stuff like that. So we have. I'm skipping a few here. I just wanted to go back to this one, which I thought was a little funny. No shade to guitarists, but number 7 on this list is guitarists critiquing you. Guitarists are often wrong. Ignore them. That's all it says.
Let's just leave it at that. Next. Next.
Here we have I guess these are kind of similar. Singers who don't know what they want. I guess we could group these into sort of non-drummers
explaining
not knowing what they want. I guess it's not really sort of like the sharing equipment thing. It's not really. I'm not like afraid of a singer being like, do this specific thing.
Yeah.
And again, you have to learn to work with people and be able to interpret people's attempt to drum speak.
Yeah.
It's important for drummers, maybe more so than other instruments, because it's a lot harder to sort of explain, if you're not a drummer, what you want the drummer to do.
Yeah.
It's a lot of general terms. It's like, oh, I want this to be like ethereal or soft or washy or hard driving, grooving. Like,
yeah,
you can either do that or you can say, I want you to play a fill that goes like jugga-doom, and like, we gotta interpret that
it's
somehow.
It's a little easier if you're speaking from, like, I would say anybody who's super rhythm based.
Yeah.
Because like another drummer to another drummer, it's gonna be like, I want you to play the 2/4 swing on your hi-hat kick and don't use snare or whatever, or play the E's and U's on your snare, and that's it.
And like knowing the parts of the kit, and whatever, that helps a lot.
Most of the time,
most people do.
Yeah, most of the time I get that. If anything, like I'll get like, oh, I want you to play that on your ride cymbal.
Yeah.
And then, do
this on the snare. And do like a roll on the snare.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Play it soft or heavy but yeah, a lot of terms.
Again, it's not really a fear, I don't think. Like,
well, I mean, it's not a fear, but it's scary to what the outcome might be.
Yeah.
Because like it could easily be like, oh well, this is not.
And I imagine, like, and we're here talking about it, but it could also be scary for the person who's explaining, like the non-drummer who's like, oh geez, what do we even tell them? They're gonna like judge me if I say the wrong thing, or if I'm not specific enough.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I'm not gonna judge you. Mike's not gonna judge you. We might laugh if you like
attempt the drum speak
to do a something. But it's, again, all that sort of stuff is harmless. And as long as you can agree with your bandmates or anyone else around you on what you think that would serve the song, that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
Like, no one wants to be judgmental. We all just want to be friends here. And being like sort of judgmental like that often makes it harder to get work done.
Yeah.
And just being friendly and open and accepting and tolerant of people who might not drum speak the best, or drummers who are asking other musicians to play something that we don't know really how to explain.
Yeah.
Or any sort of musician doing that kind of thing. It's just, as long as you can communicate it in some way,
yeah,
that's all that matters.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So the last one on this list here, we have is drum throne breaking.
Oh my gosh.
This is probably it's along the same lines of dropping a stick, but way worse.
Oh, 100%.
Because like,
and it depends on how it's breaking.
Yeah, so much of what we play is dependent on us having sticks in our hands. So much of what we play is dependent on the height of our seat and that we're sitting on a throne, because we have bass drum pedals and hi-hat pedals and the snares set at a certain height and all these things, and we have to be sitting down to play effectively. And so if the throne breaks like in the middle of something and there's really nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You're sort of in the belly of the beast at that point.
Yep.
You're at the throne's will, whatever it wants to do to you. You just have to accept.
Yeah, I've had that before. It's like, it's not. I mean, it's subconscious. Like it's like, okay, is this gonna break on me, or is this gonna...
Especially again if it's not your kit,
or forgetting it too.
That I would say is even worse.
Yes. Like I anytime I've gone to a gig, I've always triple checked that I have my throne.
I've been at a few gigs where like I spend all this time packing and I might be running a little late, and it's like, all right, let's get here. Let's go to the gig, start unpacking, and then once I've gotten out of my car, I realize my throne's at home.
Yeah.
And similar to like the dropping the stick, your heart just like sinks to your stomach. You're like, oh, the one thing that I need to play. I can't play standing up. Like,
no.
What?
And play, like, I know this like might not sound like really difficult or whatever, but like playing on like a chair, as a like if we were to like forget my throne and play drums on this, like how can I like, what am I gonna do in order to best play? Like it's like, oh my gosh, because
you set your throne to a certain height where it's comfortable for you to like press all the pedals and everything. And most chairs are like sit lower than most drummers on thrones, which is like it's really hard to play if your knees are like up here and you're super low. But I've had to do that sometimes if I forget my throne and be like, hey, do you have a folding chair or something that I can use to just get by? And that sort of relates to the adaptability thing, just being able to make what you can with what you have. But like forgetting stuff in general, like there are certain things where like it's not the end of the world. Like, if you forget a crash cymbal, like and you have two, you got the other one but you forgot one of them, like it's not that bad. Doesn't matter.
Or you forgot your ride, it's really not that big of a deal. This
might just be me being a minimalist, but the only cymbal you really need is a hi-hat.
The only cymbal you need is all of them.
But
just a hi-hat, right? Just a hi-hat. One.
Two.
Oh, so you need a hi-hat.
Well, because then you get the variation of, like, you can get the open and closed sound.
Okay. So you don't want just one hi-hat?
No, you need two.
Okay.
Top and bottom.
So you need two cymbals then?
Yes,
okay.
Two cymbals.
So
even if they're not specifically hi-hats.
Just
two cymbals that you can make into hi-hats.
Okay.
But along with that, like forgetting a clutch, a hi-hat clutch, or forgetting like felts.
See, even with the hi-hat clutch, you could still do something about it. You could put some paper in there to force the cymbals together. At least you'll have a closed hi-hat.
It's really for something like jazz, it's like you really need that clutch.
Well, especially for jazz, I guess. But for anything else though,
forgetting a clutch, and it's such like a small little thing, but it's so important. There's a lot of those on the drum kit, like small things where if
the drum key.
A drum key, yeah, totally.
That's if you show up to the gig and you don't have your drum key, you can't set up any of your stuff. If you don't, if you use a lot of stuff with drum keys. Some
hardware has like locks or things that are dependent on having a drum key, and it's such a small thing, and it's so easy to forget.
So easy to forget.
But
Yeah.
again, a lot of this sort of comes down to the same point where you just have to go with the flow. If you have time, or if anyone is able to lend you equipment, that's great. But
Yeah.
you just sort of have to adapt to the situation, and that includes, standing to play if you break your throne.
Well, unless you have one of those like cocktail drum sets where it's
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
you can stand up and play this thing.
I've actually been
or-
wanting to get one of those where it's like a big sort of tall drum.
It looks like a
and the
giant
kick
floor
pedals
tom.
from the bottom.
Yeah, it looks like a giant floor
They're
tom.
kind of cool.
They are.
Yeah.
I would definitely get one if I had any more room for drum stuff
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
money.
Oh, that too. Money's important.
Yeah, very much broke with all of the drum things.
But yeah, so that was breaking the drum throne. That was the last on this list. I've never had my throne break on me during
Yeah.
a gig. I feel like that would be insanely bad,
Right.
but not very common. But I have had if I'm practicing and it's on a sort of not so great throne at school or something, and
Yeah.
I'm playing a beat and all of a sudden I just drop down on one side. Yeah, so that is some drummer specific fears that people may have, and hopefully we've offered some ways to combat them. Because,
Yeah, right.
A fear of performing, and you shouldn't be afraid to play music.
Yeah.
You know.
Especially if you're finna oh, dude, it's a hard day for me to talk, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's my clothes, dude.
It's the clothes. It's
It's all of the stuff for this thing that we're doing here right now in the place. Dude, excellent.
Oh, we love it here.
It's more Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
But I don't know, do you have any scary stories? I have one, but
yeah.
it's not scary, but
I mean,
drums related stuff.
yeah, go for it.
You would definitely remember this. We were at a competition. Thank goodness, we weren't any more than 30 minutes away.
Oh yeah.
And B,
okay.
had multiple parents that were still at the place on their way over. Or no, were they all there and they had to go back?
They
had
might
to go
have
back.
been. Yeah.
So we're packing up all our stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget this, don't forget that. So we're going to a marching band competition, and for those that don't do a lot of marching band or don't really know what marching band is, we have a uniform, and most of the time the people that play snare and quads, your carrier goes under your jacket.
Yeah.
Or under your...
It just looks a little cleaner.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
So we're all good. We're getting all our stuff. Make sure everyone's got their drum, everyone's got their sticks, right? Everyone's got their carrier. So we're all we got all our stuff. All right, on the bus,
And, not really thinking about the competition, just trying to clear our minds.
And then we get there
and we pull up,
and one of the kids is hey Mike or whatever.
we're all getting ready, getting dressed, getting our drums out.
Yeah, I'm so focused on everything else.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't have my carrier. And I'm like, what? He's like, I don't have my carrier. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have your carrier? He's like, I think I left it at school. I'm like, how could you leave the thing you need to carry your drum with at the place where you just came from?
It's called marching band because we move and play, and the thing that is integral to that moving and playing is your carrier to carry the drum while you move.
So at that point, it's panic mode.
Yeah.
It's okay, do we ask another school for a carrier?
Mm-hmm.
Do we go back to the school? Thank gosh we got there early.
Yeah.
And, we had time to practice.
We're close
and stuff.
enough where someone could run back, grab the carrier.
But I mean, it came to last minute. So we're doing marching basics, and the kid who still doesn't have his carrier for his drum is out there on the field during marching basics holding the drum as they're marching, and
like a punishment.
Yeah, and like we were like, our drum tech was so mad.
Yeah,
he's like, how could you forget that? Like da 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 da. And so
God.
as time progressed, we all just got more worried because we're like, well,
they're not back yet.
If he can't play, then that's one person that's good that's down. Second, if they don't even let him on the field, we're going to have an empty spot while we're marching, and we're going to have to guide to that the whole time.
The spacing, or just leave it that way and have a gap.
Yeah,
and make it look like a mistake.
It'll be completely different. And like, different is not a good thing once you've practiced something several times.
Yeah.
So like, we're literally going onto the field, like, and a parent runs up and it's like, here's the carrier. He like
the savior.
Yeah, he like strips down in his uniform, throws the carrier on, throws everything back on, drum on, and then like we're on the field. And it's like, it literally, that's how fast it happened.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, okay, now we're marching onto the field. It's like, oh my gosh, that was so scary though.
Yeah.
That whole time I was freaking out, man.
There was sort of similarly relating to marching band, when you and I auditioned for Colts, this past winter, we weren't really like scared in the stage fright sort of way, because we did practice a lot beforehand, and we knew like all the beats pretty well. So we weren't really nervous or scared about that part, but the one thing that I was very afraid of, this was last year.
Yeah.
So we were out of high school, but you had been marching indoor for the past few seasons.
Yeah.
I, on the other hand, had not physically marched since high school. I had not physically carried a drum aside from little odds and ends gigs here and there since high school. And so the first day of auditions went by. We were just playing drums. That was fine. And then the second day comes around, and it's like, all right, today and at 12 o'clock or whatever it was, we're doing Vish. We're doing some marching. And I'm like, oh, God. I was so like out of practice visually, and it was just that whole day I could not focus on my beats when we were in like subsectionals, because I was just waiting. I was like, I am so nervous for this visual. And then it turns out, so we had like more people auditioning than we had drums, right? So we had to switch off every so often. Yeah. But somehow I got stuck. Like, no one wanted to switch off with me. So I was pretty much marching with the drum on, the quads, like the 35, 40-pound drums, which I hadn't marched with since high school.
And those were Dynasties, right?
I don't remember. They might have been. No, I think they were
Yamaha.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so I was carrying those drums for a amount of time longer than I ever had since high school.
In like 2 years.
And I was trying to like not get tired and focus on my technique too. And while we were playing and moving, it was a train wreck.
Yeah.
But I got through it, and I was really scared for nothing. And when I got my comments back from my tech, he was like, your technique was a little off. I can tell you haven't really been marching, since high school, but like your effort, man, that was through the roof. And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Because honestly, that's really all it is if you can be there and give it your all. I mean, there's really nothing to be afraid of. And I know that's sort of like a very preachy, like, it's like easy for you to say sort of thing, but it really is true. If you can just like prepare and be there mentally and physically and just give it your all, then you should really have nothing to be afraid of like that. So that was a lesson that I learned, and probably that I should focus on marching a bit more. audition.
Do that again.
Do any more auditions, but yeah,
That's
my
all right.
little
We'll get some weights and we'll march down the street.
yeah ankle weights. That's my little horror story.
Oh man. Let's see. I don't really know if I have any like other like scary scary-ish stories.
Experiences.
I have like creepy ones like I've
creepy.
been like practicing and like heard something and definitely freaked out about it. But like or like heard drums playing but nothing's actually going on. Like that's another one.
There's been a lot of times. Well, my school is haunted. First of all,
Okay.
at Loyola, at least the building that the music building is in. Because
Of course.
Here's like a little short story. So at Loyola, the music building or the music wing is like the first floor of this really tall building called Mundelein, and it used to be Mundelein was like a separate women's college, and then there was Loyola, and then they sort of combined. And Loyola now owns that building. This was like a really long time ago, but now it's still here, and it's Loyola's like a private Catholic school. And so like in the old days, there were like always, nuns and everything walking around. So apparently the story is that there was a nun who jumped off of the top floor of that building. That's the story. That's the rumor, and like haunts the top floor of that building. That's the rumor.
I'm never going back there with you again. Screw that.
But and so it's kind of fun. Like we've done lock-ins with the pep band on the top floor.
No, you haven't.
Nothing's ever happened really.
But that's dude. There's no way I would do that.
But like when I'm practicing and stuff, like in the practice rooms. Sometimes like a drum will just fall off the shelf.
No.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It has happened.
No, thank you.
And I'm just like, oh, maybe that's just I hit something in the frequency, vibration, whatever. Or maybe it's a ghost.
That's freaky.
But yeah.
That would freak me out. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh snap, I'm out of here.
That's sort of creepy things that have happened while I'm drumming.
See, sometimes when I like when we were, when we had like go to a practice room, I kind of get like weird vibes when I'm in the practice room.
Yeah.
Always. It's not like it's any practice room. I always get like weird vibes.
All
in the
practice rooms are haunted.
Yeah. Like, it's just like, I don't know, man. It's like, it's not somebody's watching me, but I feel like something's like, especially if like the drum sets, because I don't know, for some reason, in a lot of practice rooms, the drum sets face the wall away from the door. Uh-huh. So I always feel like somebody's like watching me from my back and like watching me play.
Yep.
And like that, I always get freaked out and like check behind me every once in a while. But
yeah, now that we're kind of moving into a little more real spooky territory, I have some Halloweeny sort of Halloweeny questions, spooky questions that aren't necessarily drum related, but could be fun to get into.
Okay, shoot.
Let's see here. First we'll start off the bat generally. Do you believe in ghosts?
Yes.
Same.
Like, do we want to get into it a lot or no?
I mean, do you have like a ghost story?
I probably do, but I'd be too... Okay, so for everybody who's listening or watching, I hate scary things. Yeah, I love Halloween.
Yeah, it's very weird because I think this is a little bit for me, maybe less so than you, but we love Halloween, but we hate like scary stuff.
Yeah,
which doesn't really add up.
Yeah, I hate scary movies. I hate scary stories. I hate haunted houses. I hate them.
Yeah.
I'll work a haunted house. I'll, I dress up, or
if you can be in control of it, that's a whole separate thing.
Yeah.
But the feeling of like not being in control.
Yes. I guess that might be it. But like, I hate scary things. I won't watch any scary movies. But I'm sure I have a scary story to tell you, but I won't because I'm too scared to, because I don't want to start thinking about it.
That's funny.
But
so yeah, we both believe in ghosts.
Yeah, believe in ghosts. I don't believe in like possession ghosts, but I believe like you know,
Sort of like lingering spirits.
Well, with Peanut, my dog, it's like, do your dogs ever just like stare at a corner?
Oh yeah, all the time.
And then just like
people say that like dogs can and animals can see ghosts.
Yeah, and spirits and stuff. And
that's what like
that's what freaks me out when he does that. He'll just like stare, and he'll just like.
Yeah, my
like, no way, bro.
My oldest dog, my biggest oldest dog, does that all the time. He's getting older, and sometimes he'll just like stare up in a corner.
It's so freaky. It's like stop. It's like you want to scream, stop looking at that.
Yeah. So yeah, ghosts. If you don't believe in ghosts, then you're probably
a ghost.
You're probably a ghost. Let's see. What is your here? I saw this. What is your favorite horror monster or villain? Or I guess just sort of favorite sort of supernatural like monster
scary
type
person
thing or person, I guess.
I don't really know. I don't really have one. I'd say the thing that freaks me out on a consistent basis is like the sea monsters.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, something like grabbing my foot or whatever, that I always freak out about.
Like deep open water and it's dark and you can't see it. Yeah.
No, thank you.
That really freaks me out too.
No, thank you.
I guess yeah, that's like the next question, like our fears, I guess. I know you're afraid of heights, right?
Not really. I don't like elevators. I'm scared of elevators.
I've seen the elevators are also a thing in the Mundelein building where sometimes
nope,
you
get stuck.
They do get stuck, and sometimes like if you're going down and you like get to the first floor, the doors don't open. You go all the way back up and then all the way back down again.
God, no. Yeah, when we were there, you were like, we might get stuck.
Yeah,
and you were like,
it's a common occurrence.
Yeah, you're like, I've gotten stuck several times, and I'm like, no, dude, I hate elevators, dude. Revolving doors also freak me out.
When I was a kid, I thought that if you get like in the spot where there's glass on both sides of you, like you'd be trapped there forever.
Yeah,
and you would die there.
Like where it's like, yeah. Yeah.
I would be like,
yes.
Mom, you have to go fast. I have to get into the restaurant before the door.
Yes, dude.
Oh,
yes.
Man.
That for me still, I hate revolving
I feel
doors.
like that's a very common fear.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess, I don't really, have you ever, there's a lot of sort of funny things about like basements. And have you ever seen like the pictures where it's like me turning off the lights and running out of the basement before the demons get me or whatever?
Yeah.
I used to be like scared of stuff like that where if I was going in the basement at night and I went back upstairs, but the lights, you turn off the lights before you get to the stairs, so everything is dark before you get a chance to run up the stairs.
No.
So I'm just like, nope, turn the lights off.
See, I only have like 6 stairs, so it's just like.
But now my bedroom is in the basement.
Yeah.
Like when I was in high school or whatever, I think was when my bedroom moved into the basement. I'm not really scared of it.
Now you're
much.
just a basement dweller.
I'm just a basement dweller. Yeah, I guess that like afraid of the dark I was.
Yeah, I was
a lot
too
as a little kid.
Yeah, it's the really dark spots, like in the corners of rooms. That freaks me out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are some fears. Getting a little less spooky and more sort of wholesome. What was your first Halloween costume? Do you remember? I mean, obviously you don't remember, but do you know what it is?
I might. I think it was Fred Flintstone.
No way.
I know there is a picture of me as a baby.
Do you have a picture? If you send it to me, I'll put it up. Are you comfortable with that?
No, let's not share that one.
Okay.
It's a pretty good one though, because like as a baby, like brand new, I had like a full head of hair, dude. Like,
oh, that's great.
Full. And so I was like just ratty and just, yeah, it's a good one. What about you?
I think I have a twin sister.
Yeah.
If viewers or listeners don't know, and all of our like little kid costumes, and even now, like we dressed up last year as from Gravity Falls, Dipper and Mabel.
It was so good too.
Yeah,
I was like, that's good, dude.
We like Halloween too. My sister and I, we always go for it, you know. But I think our first Halloween costume was I was a bumblebee and my sister was a ladybug, and we had these little like things.
Oh, I think I've seen
with
that.
hoods
I think
on
I've seen
it.
that
My
picture.
like parents probably sent it to you or something. But yeah, I think that was my first Halloween costume, and we've been like, there was one year where I was a lion and she was a giraffe, or like I was a football player and she was a cheerleader, stuff like that.
Funny how that turned out.
Right now I can't do sports at all.
Oh, come on. I would say we're pretty athletic.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I could I could hang with some sports kids.
Yeah.
Easy. We both could hang.
Well, sports are fun.
Yeah.
Like we play soccer all the time.
Lacrosse, yeah.
Lacrosse. We just started that this summer. We went out just sort of on a whim.
Yeah.
We're just like, hey, do you want to like go play lacrosse in the park? And it was like, all right,
Yeah.
because this was like the beginning of quarantine, and we're like,
Yeah.
we didn't really
Yeah.
have much to do. But yeah, and then the next question following up with that, which we've already answered, but we can reiterate, is what are you going to be for Halloween this year? William S. Preston Esquire.
Theodore Ted Roosevelt or whatever. What is his full name?
I don't know. I think it's Ted Theodore Roosevelt or something like
Ted
that.
Theodore Roosevelt. Let's see. Ted Theodore Logan.
Oh, Ted Theodore Logan. It's not Roosevelt?
William Bill S. Preston Esquire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill S. Preston Esquire.
Yeah. Ted Theodore Logan.
Logan. Yeah, I guess we can wrap this up with one last question.
For sure.
What's your favorite Halloween candy?
Dude. I'm going to say the first one that popped in my head because I was always excited to get them. It's Whoppers, dude.
Whoppers. Wow.
Like the 3-pack that you just...
that's a sleeper pick right there.
Yeah,
My dad
is.
really likes Whoppers.
Yeah, dude, they're the best. Most underrated candy.
They are underrated. I agree. I wouldn't say they're my favorite. But the thing is, you don't get to experience the glory and just pure deliciousness that is a Reese's cup.
Never had it. Actually, false. I had it once.
You did?
Yes, I've had one in my life.
Did you have to go to the hospital?
Yes. And that's how we found out. I was a baby. My mom was like, here you go. I'm like, okay. I'm like,
they're so good. I feel so bad for you that you won't be able to experience
never had it.
A Reese's peanut butter cup.
Never
I guess
had it.
aside from that, I don't know if they're my favorite, because I swap sometimes whether I like chocolatey stuff or fruity stuff.
Okay.
Usually I like more fruity candy. Like I love Starbursts.
Okay.
Like Starbursts are great.
They're all right.
No, they're great.
I wouldn't say great.
Amazing. Skittles.
Whoa, I wouldn't say great or amazing.
Skittles?
I would say okay.
What about Skittles?
Skittles are all right.
Yeah.
In the recent years, I can't have a lot of candies. My teeth are starting to hurt. You know, it's like, it's too sweet.
I used to be able to, like, I did the whole pillowcase thing, trick-or-treating, like, and when I got up into, like, middle school, when I started being, like, savvy about it, I would bring in the dough, you know, like, fill that thing up and eat all of it, but now I'm starting to feel old. It's like, I can only have, you know, a few Kit Kats before I start. It's like, oh, my stomach.
Yeah.
You know, but... I don't know. It's still fun.
Yeah.
You know, to get some Halloween candy. Hopefully it won't be too sad for the trick or treaters this year.
I know. They're where we live is doing it. So they're supposed to have it.
Hopefully we can do it safely.
Yeah.
Do the please take one buckets.
Yeah.
You know, outside, but hey, it's our favorite holiday. Or maybe not our favorite holiday, one of our favorite holidays.
Yeah, definitely up there.
And we're we're celebrating here how we can on the Drum Break podcast.
Yeah, man.
Excellent.
And then you have to insert the.
But I mean, yeah, I hope you guys had as much fun as we did.
Yeah, this was a little bit of a different episode today.
Yeah,
just something fun.
Sort of celebrating.
Just a quick question for everybody. If we did other things not so related to drums, how would you feel about that?
Yes.
So like if we talked about like some other stuff, we'll do like half drums and like half other stuff, or wherever.
And speaking of half and half, I think we're making this official now, that we've been doing the sort of weekly thing for episode uploads, which has been working and it's great, but we wanted to change it up a bit. So starting from this episode forward, we're going to be doing every other week will be an episode of the podcast.
Yep.
But in between those weeks will be a live stream. So that way we can still get you guys content every week.
Yep.
It'll allow us more time to sort of make the podcast episodes better, and also focus on the live streams, which we have a lot of fun doing.
Yeah.
If you've seen our last few, especially the one from last week is
a good one.
Pretty funny.
Yeah.
You should follow us on Instagram and check it out. But yeah, so expect that sort of schedule going forward, and keep an eye out for the live streams. I'm not sure if we're going to set a specific day or just have it be during that week interval between the episodes.
Yeah, we might do like Wednesdays, just like right smack in the middle of the week, something that you can look forward to. And
those will be, if for some reason you can't make it to the actual live stream, which we encourage because then we can interact with you.
Yes.
But for some reason, if you can, they will be posted on our Instagram, so you can go back and watch us trudging through the rain as we move our equipment from outside.
But so we wanna do that. So definitely jump on there. Like Spencer said, it's more fun when we have like 10 people up in there, and we're just like commenting back and forth and like having a huge conversation.
Put you on video and share and talk to you.
Yeah, you can hop on the podcast, like on the podcast, live stream with us. Just like hop on and be like, "What's up, guys?" or whatever you want to do. But yeah, we have some big news coming up soon. Something that like I'm honestly shocked about.
Yeah.
And it's pretty big, for people that are small like us.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't. Our sponsor is Halloween for today.
Yeah, we didn't have any. There's not enough room for H on the table with all the spookiness.
Yeah, we gotta have these nights.
Maybe we should have gotten water and like dyed it red, like drinking blood.
Spooky.
But we stay tuned for a cool announcement about
definitely cool.
About a potential new sponsor in the next episode. But with that being said, this has been the Drum Break Podcast. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your week and an awesome and spooky Halloween.
And
excellent!